Ladies and gentlemen, another huge victory for Donald Trump. The Hill. Louisiana judge denies DOJ motion to stay order in social media case. Washington Post. Judge denies Biden DOJ's request for a stay in social media injunction. The request came hours... Okay, so hold on. That was behind a paywall in the Washington Post. The Hill. A federal judge Monday denied the Justice Department's request to stay an order limiting the Biden administration's communication with social media companies over free speech concerns. So what took place in the Twitter files was the government breaking the First Amendment, breaking First Amendment laws, met with consistently Twitter, Facebook. I mean, even Zuckerberg stated, oh yeah, the Federal Bureau of Investigation met with us often. Okay? You cannot influence private company. The government cannot infringe upon free speech. The disingenuous, duplicitous argument, the rebuttal from left-leaning pundits is, well, the government didn't enact a law. They just pressured social media companies or worked alongside social media companies to suspend 200,000+ conservative accounts, for example, on Twitter. Or silence everybody from RFK Jr. to Trump to anyone they don't like on Instagram and other platforms. And any information that happens to coincide with a conservative or independent or libertarian viewpoint, or any viewpoint outside a very fabricated consensus that Democrats always latch onto, because a consensus that's coerced is not really a consensus. If you have dissent from highly qualified experts throughout the world and they're marginalized and you can only listen to the information that is deemed appropriate, that's called censorship. And if you have the government, you have Democratic politicians, you have government agencies that side with the Democratic Party working with social media platforms to deny a voice for Trump and others, that is the antithesis of democracy. Okay, you have the Democratic Party wanted a czar, a ministry of information, essentially, to combat information that misinforms, as they misinform people all the time on substances found at the White House, Hunter's laptop. We can go on forever. Foreign policy debacles. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. This is a huge victory for Trump, especially going into 24. U.S. District Judge, a Trump appointee in Louisiana, rejected the DOJ's bid to stay an injunction while it works to appeal the decision, barring talk between administration officials and social media companies. Why on earth does Biden's administration want to speak with social media companies? The rebuttal is, well, Trump did the same thing. No, he didn't. If indeed his administration met with social media companies, they're all voting Democrat. These are all liberal Democrats that run these companies, okay? Whether or not Trump's request was, well, no, Trump's requests were denied. He never was able to, even, I'm just assuming that there's a rebuttal, oh, Trump did the same thing. It was only one story that it was a story that harmed the Democratic Party, Biden, about Hunter's laptop, that was completely erased at the moment. Okay, we couldn't hear about it. It was silenced, and it was completely not part of the national discussion because you couldn't talk about it, even on this platform. And that was because Democrats and former intel officials and others sided with Democratic politicians, former intel officials, government agencies sided with the Democratic Party, obviously. That's what always happens. And then through the Twitter files, we found out 50+ intel officials, all this nonsense, they lie all the time. And they said, well, Hunter's laptop is a plot by another country to inform you of how corrupt Democrats are. And so everything is a plot by another country. Don't you know? The DNC emails showing that Bernie Sanders was cheated by his own political party, well, that was a plot by another country. Everything is a scheme by another country to show you, once you find out the criminality or how corrupt Democrats are, it's another country's fault. They want you to go to Trump. Because if you find out how corrupt Democrats are, well, you're more likely to vote for Trump. I mean, you have to be a complete imbecile to believe any of this. But people do believe it. Very smart, very, very intelligent people who are lifelong liberal Democrats will believe anything intel agencies tell them because it suits their vantage point, their tribalistic view of the world. Okay, there's tribalism on the left and right, but there's only one political side where people are disowning friends and family, not inviting uncles and aunts to weddings. That's the wonderful, morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrat. Generally disowns friends and family they've known for 30 years. And, betrays them, does all these things. Why? Because it's immoral to vote for Trump. It's very moral to vote for Hunter and Joe and all the dysfunction taking place now. Poverty has gone up. Since when does morality... when is morality dependent upon poverty going up? Poverty was at an all-time low with Trump. We had record low poverty, record highs in household median income in 2019. That is the only thing that Trump should ever say for the next year and a half. I mean, literally the only thing he should say. We had record low poverty. There's no rebuttal to that. There is no rebuttal to that. It was beginning of his fourth year before Democratic governors gleefully tanked their state economies. So we didn't have the invasion in Europe, and then they've spun that into, could you imagine if Trump was in office? He would abandon our allies. Like, what? Our allies are suffering more with Democrats. Okay? Trump brought Americans home, and then the rebuttal is, he abandoned our allies. Like, no. Those allies want armament. Okay, but we won't give armament because of the geopolitical situation in one of the regions where Trump brought Americans home. Anyway, and that the Pentagon lied to him. Then the Doha Agreement was completely botched by Biden. The Doha Agreement was negotiated by Trump. The only reason Americans were brought home was because Trump negotiated the Doha Agreement. It was a May 1st, 2021 withdrawal. Anyway, and Biden went past that, and it was those 13 Americans should be alive today. Those over 100 Afghans should be alive. He utilized the help, quote-unquote help. Only a complete fool would do this, but our mortal adversaries were helping us evacuate. Okay, only with Democrats in office would that happen. But here, lawyers led by, Principal Deputy Assistant Attorney General wrote in a filing last week that the order's broad scope and ambiguous terms prevent the government from engaging in a vast range of lawful and responsible conduct. There is no lawful and responsible conduct pertaining to censoring and silencing and preventing speech and dialogue. That is exactly what the First Amendment is about, to prevent Democrats in office from silencing conservatives through social media. The town square is no longer, like Twitter and social media platforms were supposed to be a town square. Well, when there's a Hunter laptop story, we can't talk about it, okay? If there's anything detrimental to Democrats, it's, another plot by another country. All of these intel officials, these former intelligence officials say that it's another country that wants you to vote for Trump. And then they roll with it. And then you had Adam Schiff, who basically lied for years and years about Trump, said that he was an operative of another country. It was not true. It's the antithesis of democracy. You can't accuse an incoming president. It wasn't just Schiff. It was the entire Democratic Party. Then you have one bureau agent suing Trump for influencing government agencies to fire him. Trump was the head of the executive branch. He was the commander-in-chief. He could fire anyone he wanted, from the Honorable James Comey to any bureau agent, to anyone. Okay? And then you have that text message saying, we'll stop Trump. It's unbelievable what the establishment gets away with. But the establishment has all of media, which is why all these media companies are slowly fading and descending into bankruptcy. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Louisiana judge prevents yet again an effort to intimidate and influence social media companies. See, it's not the other way around. It's not Republicans or Trump trying to intimidate social media companies. It's Democrats. Give me your thoughts. Thank you.